Hi, beautiful people. So, this wasn't what I was anticipating sharing as my first message of the new year, but it started to flow through. And I want to speak to um, what I'm receiving and feeling regarding what is happening with the fires in Los Angeles and in Southern California, and with the much larger story. So, um, if you want, let's go for this kind of ride together. And I am just opening to receive higher wisdom and to bring that to you with integrity and clarity. And if you haven't listened or read, I'm typically, what comes through me, what I'm sharing with you is from a psycho-spiritual perspective. So going back to who we are as humans and our inner world, and also that big spiritual perspective. So, and if you hear noise in the background, that's my family. It might be my guinea pigs. You never know. Um, they, you just never know. So, first, I just want to speak to the devastation that is happening in Southern California. And for those of you who know, I live in the Asheville area, and so our community has been through and is still going through um, life-altering loss, right? Utter change of the landscape. And what is happening in Los Angeles right now is similar in that people are losing their homes. They're losing everything that the material world um, that matters, that we need as humans, right? We need these homes, these places to feel safe and secure, these symbols of connection, lots of things. And so people are losing all of that. They're losing everything. And what I have said to people over the last several months is that what I'm seeing in Asheville, what I imagine for people in Los Angeles and people who go through a disaster and lose everything, I still have my physical home. But when Leona Joy died, I had that experience of losing everything, of my life being ripped so wide open. And so I'm seeing outside of me in the landscape what it is to carry, what it is to be and walk with a loss that completely devastates your entire known world, that your reality, your life as you knew it, who you were, is gone. And that is an initiation. It's an offer, it's an invitation to an initiation, right? Because an initiation is dying. It is a dying before you die so that you can really live. And friends, I feel like I'm sensing that that is what is happening right now. On the large scale for humanity. Let me see if I can get this through. I want you to hear that this is a both and. There is massive and tremendous grief, and that is not to be bypassed in any way. It is that we are actually being invited to learn how to walk with, how to befriend grief individually and collectively so that we can heal. And when we do that, we actually can remember who we truly are. And friends, that is what I'm seeing is humanity, where we are in this point of our journey of humans. Because this, what we see with our eyes, is not remotely most of what's happening. We've gotten fooled by our senses, and in many ways, it's as if humanity is being invited to grow up, to mature from toddlerhood and from adolescence, which developmentally in many ways really resonate with each other. And so part of what can happen is a little child, if something horrible happens, we need to protect children. They don't need to know all the details. But what can happen and what I can see for some people is that they are like this: I don't want to know, I don't want to see, I don't want to hear. And because of untended pain that is already in them. So it's learning to turn our attention deep within so that we can tend to those places in us, those wounds of abandonment, those wounds of betrayal, right? So that we can begin to sit with curiosity with what is going on here? What is happening? And I'm not telling you that I know. I'm telling you that I'm curious because Lahaina, because Asheville, because LA, I'm curious because of what I've watched and seen over the past few years. And if you've learned to find people who are willing to tell a truth where they risk their lives and their livelihood to share their perspective and listen and be curious, you have likely been awakened to realities that are very challenging to digest because of the level of betrayal on a societal level, on a governmental level. Now, if I thought that the government was really the end-all be-all, like that all that really was just this material world, that would be really concerning. Or I don't know that I don't know if that's the word, but there's more. Because the governments are run by people, and the people are they're also spiritual beings. They're souls in this human form. And all of our societies have gotten so disconnected from each other, from our interconnectedness, from nature. But there are people who at this point in time, to me, are living out the mythical stories that where evil is permeating humanity, where evil is coming in, and it sure seems like trying to destroy humanity. Now, my perspective is that we as humans are divine humans. We've just forgotten this. And so this is the time. All of these things are happening because, maybe not because, but they are that initiatory experience so that if we choose, we can remember who we really are. And friends, when we remember who we really are, these vast soul beings that are eternal, that are divine in this human body, having this incredible human experience, our true light, our true essence of love, our true power would never harm another. And that power and that light and that essence is more powerful than any of these smaller stories that are creating utter devastation. Okay, I'm jumping around. I'm trying to see if I can get this, if I can tell you and share with you what I see and what I feel. You don't have to see it or agree with it. That's okay. This is one perspective, and I think that part of what we are getting right now is that the disco ball, right? Where, in particular, people who are systems thinkers and see patterns and see the whole, we're seeing as much of the whole as we can and trying to share that, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I see that we as humanity are, like many stories would say, like the Bible and the book of Revelation talks about the end of times. We are at the end of times. And here's what I mean by that. We are in between ages, right? We left one age astrologically, planetarily in our evolution, and we are in that birthing, that phase of transition, which if you've ever birthed a child and not had something to numb the experience, that is the hardest point, right? Is transition. And we are in that phase where we are in that moving into this new age of Aquarius, and what that means and what that feels like. So anytime where one thing is ending and a new thing is coming in, it's there's a time period where it's like a stretching, right? Where we're opening it, opening it, opening to be able to really fully birth the new. And that is happening on so many levels. As humans, we are in that individually and collectively in that birthing phase of going from youth who are willing to give their power to external structures and say, government, you save me. This institution, you know what to do. Doctor, you know what to do. And we're being invited to remember who we really are. It's not that we don't need support. It's not that we don't need each other. That would be the swinging to the other extreme. But that we find our interdependence, we find our innate gifting that we each bring to this world. And we find our own power and our own sovereignty. And it's from that place, from a place of radical self-ownership, that we can actually be in healthy, life-giving, life-affirming relationship with one another in interdependent ways, just as we see in the rest of nature. And so as humans, we are in this stage of evolution of trying to grow up, but some people are still understandably like, I don't want to see, and I don't want to know. Because to face the level of betrayal that is playing out on this global scale right now is super intense. But I want to suggest that that level of betrayal is so intense, and it is intense, but because it's a resonance with layers of betrayal that haven't been grieved on an individual and collective, but a personal level, right? So within each of us, if we, to whatever degree we are carrying stories of abandonment and of betrayal and lots of other things, those are just the words that are coming to me right now for this resonance, this frequency, right? These archetypal wounds that humanity has endured for millennia, they are coming up on such a societal level to be healed. But when we don't do that healing work, and there are these societal reenactments of betrayal, so there's a resonance in the field. There's a frequency that, like, again, I've said this before, where if you pluck a C string and you play a C on you're gonna hear it's a resonance. It is the same sound, the same frequency, the same vibration. And so when there's an outward event like the flooding in Asheville that has the same resonance and frequency of that event that I experienced of my daughter dying, those two things, they vibrate, right? So I'm feeling it. So to the degree that I grieve, and that I grieved and was able to really walk through and continue to heal the wounds inside of me, we don't heal grief. We don't heal grief. We heal the wounds that block the movement of grief's waters. And so as we do that, there's a resonance that inside of us that comes into peace, into stillness, into love, into that space where all is well. And so then when the outer devastations happen, there's still a place inside of us, that deepest heart, our higher soul self, right? That knows, my divine nature that knows I'm safe no matter what happens. I am love and I am loved. So often those outer events are the very invitations. They're those initiations. They're the invitations to do that deep work of healing, those places of that are outside of the resonance of love inside of us. So I see that as part of humanity's evolution, what we're being invited to do. Because when we remember who we are and we can bring these old archetypal wounds out of the darkness, out of it's like they're being excavated, right? And it's painful. And we bring them into the frequency, into the resonance of love. We heal and we become beacons of light and spaces of healing. And to do that, we grieve what was lost. We grieve the things that have happened to us, the ways we have been victims. Friends, that's the only way we actually undo our propensity to become victimizers, is to actually deeply grieve the ways we have been oppressed. Otherwise, we're sure to become an oppressor in some way. And this is the story of humanity's evolution, is this remembering, this being able, doing this, this work individually and collectively so we can remember, oh, I am the victim and the victimizer. I am the oppressed and the oppressor. And I am neither of these because I am more than all of this. I am eternal and divine and inherently beautiful, inherently good. And these parts of me who've been carrying these stories for so long can come back and be held in that resonance of love, of my true nature, of the God within me, of the source of all, of which we are expressions. That, to me, is what we're being invited to remember. And when we do that, we begin to find solutions for all of our physical problems. There's creative solutions that I just heard this morning about firefighting that don't create harm for humans and animals and the earth and are very effective, right? And they're beautifully creative, but they come from a higher level of consciousness that is no longer bound. So as we bring more freedom within ourselves, we bring that freedom outside of us as well. And humanity's consciousness, which is really awareness, right? What are we aware of? Are we just aware that we think this is all that exists, when this isn't actually really solid? Can we begin to be aware of the vast amount of reality that exists beyond this physical sight? That our senses, these five senses, are really just, they're like just the appetizers. They're just reminders for us to remember who we are and what we're capable of, what we can actually see, what we can know. This is the path. This is what is happening. We're being invited into this evolution. People call this the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension. It's a remembering of who we are. And as we do that, we become peace, and therefore we create peace. We remember that we are love, and therefore we love. And so we are then able to see what's going on around us and be curious of what is happening and who is doing this? Is this just climate change? Or is there something that is unfolding that has been foretold for a very long time through a lot of different spiritual paths? That there is an end of the age, right? And it's the end of the age of humanity living in this disempowered state of thinking that we need this external thing to tell us how to live. In the Bible, there's a place where it says, where God has written the law upon the hearts of the people. And the people remember that, right? Well, if we take that out of this religiosity and we go, oh, wait a second. What that means is people are remembering the law of love. That when and if they live in betrayal to the law of love, they betray themselves, then they betray everyone. But we come to a place of remembering, of awakening, and we can no longer do that because it goes against who we are. And we literally can't. We have to live within the law of love. That is what I see is happening. It is a painful process because that is how old systems, they don't want to let go. Their tentacles are holding on, right? We see this. This has been depicted in movies in stories over and over again, right? The Balrog holding on in Lord of the Rings. You shall not pass, says Gandalf. I tend to get him and Harry Potter guy confused. Anyway. The old is giving way and the new is coming in, and you cannot stop a baby from being born. Nature, right, will have her way. The baby will be born, and this new consciousness is being born. There's no stopping it. But in the process, friends, I know that it brings up so much fear, so much desperation. And out of fear and out of desperation, an enormous amount of those energies can lead us take us right back into that grasping. I've got to get mine, right? And humans begin to hurt one another. That's part of what this old energy is that's dying. But what's also happening in the midst of these utter devastations is people are coming together and caring for one another and getting beyond these divisions, these things that we think make us different because we're looking at different sides of this cosmic, this big disco ball, and arguing as if this is just true or this is just true when we're only just seeing part of it. And what's happening is people are beginning to just go, well, that doesn't matter right now. What matters is you're hurting and you're in need, and I have something that you need, and I can help you, and you can help me, and we can love one another. And we are finding that if we're going to get through this transition, that is the only way it's going to happen, is through coming together. Okay, this is long enough. I hope you've been able to follow what's coming through. I'll keep sharing as I feel led. My invitation to you is one, open your heart as much as you can, listen to the parts of you that resist that, and honor them and grieve. And remember, joy is our birthright. Joy is our essence. It's where we came from. It's love. It's beauty. It's where we will all return to. It's what we're bringing in. It's what is being born. And there's nothing that can stop it, no matter what it looks like right now. With so much love, with so much hope.